this is Tiger. Welcome to my surprise unboxing stream for the West Coast Mainline Trent Valley stream. Surprise because I was not really announced anywhere, and surprise because it is so early due to the fact that there will be the roadmap stream later today, and I don't want to get into trouble with that. So I'm just running my train as promised from London Euston via the West Coast Main Line, first to Milton Keynes, what is obviously not new, and then from Milton Keynes to Crewe, what is new, the new West Coast Main Line DLC, Trent Valley, Milton Keynes to Crewe, that is supposed to be released tomorrow, Tuesday, 9th of June, at about 10 or so in the morning already. So nothing more than this. You can already see my disclaimer. As an ambassador, I got all the DLCs for free. And let's start without further ado. We have so many West Coast Mainline, not East Coast Mainline, West Coast Mainline DLCs. 3 even are named West Coast Mainline, and we are starting with the West Coast Mainline South. And look, we have 6 tiles for timetables by now. Let's take the one with the Evero so that we can actually drive the Evero. We're starting on the 805 Evero, is the old Evero that is already around for some time in the game, but the 807 is also going into this one. So let's see, maybe we will take the 807 right away from Milton Keynes, from London Euston to Milton Keynes. Just let's find a nice service, maybe in the morning. London Euston to Milton Keynes, let's take that one. And I change my stream information. And we will be running the 807 Evero all the way from London Euston to Crewe. Yeah, here we are at London Euston. Number of the service is 1 Foxtrot 18. We're going to Liverpool Lime Street, not all the way because the bit between Crewe and Liverpool Lime Street would only be on Spirit of Steam, and we cannot run the 807 there because of the lack of overhead catenary. And the 807 is, unlike the 805, pure electrical multiple unit, so we cannot even switch to diesel. Would be fun actually to run the 805 on the Spirit of Stream DLC. Maybe we should do this at some point, but not conflicting with the roadmap tonight. Let's open the doors. Let's get some lights. Let's check the GSMR. This is already okay. Safety systems, couple of them. What we can't turn on is the British Rail automatic train protection. We still have a red light.
WS and AWS operational.
So let's set the DRA. least it looks like we have a red light. We cannot really see it properly. With the external camera, we are checked over the roof. With that camera, we can see that we have a red light properly. So, what will be our limit when we start? 25 first, leaving London Euston. And then soon it will rise to 40. Do we have any stops on the way? No, we're going straight through to Milton Keynes. Not bothering with any stops. Not at Watford Junction. Not somewhere in between. So usually 30 seconds before departure I will try to close the doors, but I can't because I do not have a proceed signal. Can tell the signal that we are actually ready to leave with our 7 cars in the 807 Evero train. Now we got a green light. You can close the doors. Doors are closing.
West Coast service to
And we can actually start.
We'll be calling at Milton Keynes Central, Crewe, Runcorn, and Liverpool Lime Street.
Crewe and Runcorn Gap, we know that from the Spirit of Stream.
Displayed throughout the train.
But not a lot of stops if you look at it. Only have Milton Keynes, Crewe, and then Runcorn, and then Liverpool Lime Street already.
If you notice something out of the ordinary, speak to a member of staff or text us on 61016 and we'll get it sorted. That
7 cars make up for a longish train, even if we only have one set. 200 yards almost. The marker for the 40. Still have to get all of our cars past the sign. Now we're probably good, and I can accelerate to the 40. No, we're not yet. It was not for us, the sign as it seems. Maybe we get at least the increase to 13. No, not even that one. That X on the signals, by the way, marks that we're going to a line that is designated as line X in the sectional appendix, so not a malfunction or anything. Now we can go at least 30. Here you can see the X on top of it, of the tunnel, marking our line as line X. And as soon as the whole train is in the tunnel, can accelerate to 55. No, not yet. 50. At any rate, we can go. Aqua, it's Monday, isn't it? Yes. But it is the only evening. Nice to see you, by the way. Fits between the end of the embargo and the release of the Trent Valley DLC, so this is why I'm streaming today. Otherwise I would probably have just played for myself But now that if it's I apply the unboxing SneakPeek stream for the Trent Valley, and I will have a full run with our Evero A300 from London Euston via Milton Keynes to Crewe. $80. Now we're running into that piece of track where we have to distinguish between 3 speed profiles. One for the TAS supported trains, the tilting trains. For us it is 85. One for the multiple units typically, and one for all other trains. Sometimes even the TAS speeds distinguish between the class 221 Super Voyager and the 390 Pendolino. Can't run on. Now it's 90 for us. We can't run on the profiles for the TAS tilting trains. This is what this sticker says. This train does not tilt. It looks like a fast train, but it can't tilt. So the yellow boards are not for us. Under 10 now. We are in 807 003. Not so super many of those train sets exist. Wembley Central. Lioness line to the left with the Avanti trains. Here's still the stations and stops that we know from the Bakerloo line. That was a 805 Evero, short version. It's already Harrow and Wealdstone, the end of the Bakerloo line. Now it's only the Lioness line to the left until we get to Watford Junction. Still 110 at this part also for the tilting trains. Watford line going to the left. Lioness line. That means we're very close to Watford Junction now. passing with 110 at the platform. And for the first time we used the horn on the 807. That was Watford Junction. Now we left the Lioness line, the Watford DC line behind us. And we are only on the West Coast main line. Down fast we're traveling on. Line splitting up, fast lines on this end. Slow lines, or sometimes called relief lines, on the other side. Turn the cab light off for better vibes in the tunnel. It's still 110 for us as a non-tilting train. Now, since we have passed the tunnels and King's Langley, we are more or less going uphill. Until Tring. And then down again to Milton Keynes. Some of the Siemens to Zero trains working the line here, sometimes on the fast line, sometimes on the slow line. If we actually have to go for yes, here at Berkhamsted we have to slow down to 100. Something like this was in my mind about the route knowledge. This AWS magnet that has been on for always and ever. Without the proper reason, as far as I can see. So maybe we make it by coasting down for the 100. Probably not. No, I probably can make it. There was a little sign. I thought this was already the 100 sign. But it wasn't. It was still a 110 sign. It's probably here. Oh, drop to 100. Yes, here it is. After the bend to the right. And the track is bending to the left instead. And this is Berkhamsted. We're still on the rope. To 110 again. High speed of this vehicle here. Is it shown anywhere? I actually don't know. It's probably 125. Sticks to the 110. Still going uphill, but not for long now. Now we're passing Tring, grading, and then it's going downhill. Actually slowing down even though we're running downhill. That was a 390 Pendolino coming from the opposite direction. Easily spotted by its yellow nose. Another Pendolino. Jeddington, and then Leighton Buzzard. is our train. So this is probably Leighton Buzzard here. Here the part where we should have slowed down because of this split track. Leighton Buzzard is 90 in both directions. Only chance for speeding. Check. As soon as we're through this bend, we should be able to go back to 110. Switching over to the right, and 110 it is. we're getting really close. Still Bletchley in between. Then we are at our first stop and route switch. Milton Keynes. Timetable boys were really comfortably off. Can probably just let the train coast anyway. That was probably for the 75. On the right, now we're getting a double yellow. Even though we got warned, we're not going across the switch. So it's not 75 for us. But a single yellow, that is for us. And Acura 94 has reached a watch streak. Is currently on a 15 stream streak. Thank you so much. This is really hypey.
We are now approaching Milton Keynes Central. Please mind the gap when leaving the train and step onto the platform before removing heavy luggage and pushchairs.
And that gave you 450 tiger paws extra from what I can judge. So, this is the arrival at Milton Keynes. Let's check what time it is. And here we are. $250 Acura points for setting the DRA within 5 seconds of arrival. Before walking about and doing stuff. Oh no, I have to stop for a moment. And back I am. Now we need to close the doors. And then find the point where we can switch. We only got a gold medal because we missed it and we were too early, probably. And for speeding, yeah, look at that. Platinum medals on these services are not handed out too easily. So don't overdo it with the speed. You will be too early and you will get docked for speeding. So let's see where the route change thingy is. I cannot see my map. Can I see the map here? I can't see a route change thingy on the map. We could buy a coffee. Can look through the bullseyes. Or where can we switch to the new route? Probably not, because it is not yet here in my setup. I probably have to switch to the beta channel or see what there is already in the public build. So that we can resume our service to Liverpool Lime Street, at least up until we get to Crewe. It does not appear yet here. So probably I will have to start the game again and start with New York Trent. No, that's not the one. No, maybe it is. West Coast Line Crewe to Milton Keynes. Yeah, it's already here. So let's take that one. There's a reduced timetable and a full timetable. We get back our Evero. Let's find our service that is here around London Euston to Liverpool Lime Street. That's about our service here. It runs a bit earlier than we arrived at Milton Keynes, but it should be good. Let's take one. And while it is loading, I can change the DLC marker. So, same train, same track, a bit earlier in the day, green light. That means we don't need a DRA at the moment. Well, we need lights, full lights, full safety systems, obviously.
AWS and AWS operational.
When we start here, we should actually be on the line that allows us to give 115 out of the station here. And now we are in the brand new version of Milton Keynes. As it will be released. Tomorrow maybe it will be even released with a more modern build. But this is what I have in the game right now. Off indicator is working. Yellow hazard lamps extinguished. Door interlock indicator on. If there is one, probably on the screen. Everything is blue. So we can roll. And we will roll the whole line without stopping. Passing Rugby.
Welcome aboard this Avanti West Coast service to Liverpool Lime Street. We'll be calling at Crewe, Runcorn and Liverpool Lime Street. Please familiarise yourself with the safety notices displayed throughout the train.
Again, we have the middle speed profile, multiple unit, 115.
If you notice something out of the ordinary, speak to a member of staff or text us on 61016 and we'll get it sorted. That's 61016. See it, say it, sorted.
You can see it's quite a bit, 100 miles until we stop at Crewe. It's not so bad in a high-speed train. On the D0 it takes you about like 140. So easily 100 minutes. Wolverton, not to be confused with Wolverhampton, but we don't stop here. Line speed increases to 120 at this point. Even for us, that we are not a tilting train. hours as 101 miles, no stop. That's why I prefer commuter trains, but this might be my toe into high-speed trains. Well, there is also the D0 that allows you to go slower and with more stops. Yes, then the 43, 802, 807, you name it. That's a different thing. Actually, I slowed down too early there. It's still 120, but at the next sign, I think it is back to 115. Yeah, 115. So from my experience, it's actually really sweet driving this route on the D0, the 350/4. Brakes properly. It looks a bit like the other versions of the 350 that we have already in the game. But it feels good. The neutral section here on the track sometimes seem to be simulated, because it sometimes just kills your power and you have to go back to idle to regain power. And sometimes this does not seem to happen at all at the spots that are designated as neutral sections. Still running with 2 pairs of lines on fast, obviously 2 fast lines, 2 slow lines, and then soon here 2 lines to the right will split off and run somewhere else, whereas our pair here goes on towards Rugby. Should be the next possibility to accelerate to 120. And we're going downhill here. High wind area, it says. So we better accelerate to 120. Yeah, 323. I did not see ghosts. Back to 115 at this point. exchange the speed limit will rather be a drop to 110, I think. Yes. Even for multiple units. And now we can run with 110 through this straight. And around the corners to come. Still on our way to Rugby. Tunnel. Pendo. Now slow down to 100. That I missed, unfortunately. Well, actually, it only says so on the sign. It does not say so on the speed curve. Actually, it makes sense to slow down to 100 here because we're getting quite narrowly through all those joints. Line over speed curve, right? That's what we do. It is 115 for EMUs now. That means we can go back to the speed curve. I don't know about you, but I think I find those slight changes in speed really hardest to remember. Going like 5 up, 10 down, 5 up, 10 down, down. It's really hard to memorize. So we're getting closer to Rugby. Even though the fact that it says 80 miles that we have to go does not sound like we're going somewhere at all. But we actually already managed to get 1/5 of the whole distance off the clock. Acura agrees, yeah, it's really most difficult to memorize if you only have those small steps alternately trickling up and trickling down. Here, the next trickle. 110 for the tunnel. In the tunnel, we're limited to 110, even if we are a tilting train. So this one is easy to remember. 110 for all trains. Yeah, but on the other hand, this is one of the things that I really like in routes like this, when they are long and they have dynamic speed profiles that actually change, so that we don't run like on max speed for 80 miles. And we have like 3 or 4 different speed profiles even. 110 still, depending on whether we are a tilting train, even within the tilting trains, whether you are a 390 or a 221, whether we are a multiple unit or any other train. And with multiple speed profiles, you have more or less multiple routes in one. And then you have trains that bring their own limit. Like the D0 cannot run faster than 110, and even though it is an EMU, you hit the ceiling at 110. Acura says because it's more harmless to be the person in the tunnel to get hit by a 110 train than a train that goes 115. I have a feeling that it has to do with the oh, that was a long freeze. With the air seal, right? That beyond a certain speed, cannot make sure that the windows are not ripped out of their fastenings when 2 trains are passing each other. And there are those huge sucking forces. That can rip the windows out of their mountings. So, now we're going with 110 in this special line. Again, it says 100 for us. That does not appear. On the speed curve. And this is Rugby. In case you're not wondering where this name comes from, this is Rugby. And this is us passing Rugby. Now we're going to the right at this junction here. And if you don't slow down for the 100 in the corner, then you will have to slow for the next 100 sign. Seems to make more sense to run through the whole station area with 100. And here finally back to 110, I think it was, for MUs. Yeah, this agrees with the speed curve. And now we're going to Atherstone. From here, at any rate. And then Atherstone via Polesworth to Tamworth is a bit of a slow part of this line. So here it agrees still with the 115. But before we get there, we will get the 125 part. But before we get to the 125 part, we'll probably get a 110 part again. Is it here already? Yes. MU's 110. Now we're merging. This is probably why we were slowed down to 110, so that we can navigate this switch with 110. Still 110 at this point. And then back to 115. And 125 for this straight. You can really see what there is in this train. Nuneaton, yes, it's the first station in that row where it gets a little bit slower. So for Nuneaton we have to slow down, and then via Atherstone, Polesworth and Tamworth will most probably be a bit slower. But at the moment we're very comfortably running at 125 miles per hour. At green lights, downhill. That's chill. Got a fourth pair of rails again. That is actually the slow line on the left that you need to travel on if you want to pass Nuneaton or stop at Nuneaton. We're just passing right through but still slowing down to 110 past the station. Voyager, if I saw that correctly. And 10 miles between the platform and the train on the next platform, and here 110. Looks like I got one of those strange traction locks. Sometimes can be fixed with getting it panned down and up again. Yeah, fixed. I have a feeling that this is somehow in connection with the neutral sections on the line that are not completely muddled. They're still muddled a bit and sometimes kill your power and give you a traction lock. Sometimes it's enough to get the throttle into idle and then you can power up again. Sometimes it requires you to get the panto down and up again. So, already approaching the next drop in speed. What is it, 290 then? A300. A very small sign here, easily missed. Yeah, the 90 probably. High. And this is probably Atherstone. Well, we slowed down for 105 after this sign. Again. Here the distance between the stops, if you want to have stops or the stations, is very short. Nuneaton, Atherstone, Polesworth, Tamworth, quite close to the 110. Doesn't say where we're going, but actually we can go faster than what I'm going. 115 then. It wants to be at 110. Okay, too fast. It says Polesworth, I think, with the disused station on the right, disused platform. Next should be Tamworth, and then we can accelerate a bit more until we get to Litchfield Trent Valley, that we know from the Birmingham Cross City line as the northern end of this route. Be just passing through. So I wasn't able to read that sign, but it's not yet the 115 sign. past Tamworth, if I'm not mistaken, counted correctly. Sometimes the game freezes for a really, really long time. And you think it will crash. As long as it doesn't, all good. That was the sign for the 115 for MUs. Got those overhead catenary thingies that look like Legos. Or Legos Technics sets. Not those, but here the ones with the holes in it. Straight ahead with 115. This is Litchfield Trent Valley. Lichfield Trent Valley. And this station here we already know because that is the last station in the north, Lichfield Trent Valley. From the Birmingham Cross City route, in here you can see a marker where you can switch between this route and Birmingham Cross City, and we have the West Midlands 323 EMUs. It is not in service, it's just sitting around here, but in the Birmingham Cross City route we can go into this direction and through Birmingham New Street all the way to Bromsgrove, the Redditch. Well, we are passing on and going to the next connector to existing DLCs. It's Stafford. Wasn't able to read it. This is still 115, I think so. But before we do that, we will pass through Rugeley. Did I miss? No, I did not miss. We're not stopping at Stafford, we're just running through. Same what we do at Rugeley. Temporary speed restriction to 75, guys. That's new. It's not only 40 that we can get, but also 75. What is definitely less inconvenient on a fast speed track. Here is it, the 75 limit. And they are also longer on this route here. Temporary speed restrictions. Not only a handful of meters. We're still in it. And here it ends. And how fast can we go after that 110 as it seems? We're getting the AWS for the opposite direction, but still has not been fixed. Here we go. Anything upcoming? 110. 110 we go. Must be Rugeley then. That's the 110 though. Just doesn't get faster. Getting already goes close to Stafford. where the line is kind of branching off again. Don't know actually what speed is announced here. Aha. The full caboodle A 85 actually, from what the speed line looks like. Sign says 90 at this point. And then 65. Then we will slow down. Was a bit late anyway because we're going across this switch. That is what the 65 is for. Now I can go back to 100. This is this beautiful bridge here, or viaduct, or whatever you want to call it, with the lions just here for this garden path. It's nice. Slow down to 19 coming. Don't know if we get signals before that happens. Probably get a moped for 75. Around here. Still like a bit to go though. Now probably in this bend to the left. It is my moped for 75. And here must be the limit of 90. We should be getting into Stafford down. that we proceed to pass with 75 miles per hour. Here we are, we can see the lines to the left coming from Wolverhampton, Penkridge, in the Birmingham Crewe DLC. We can go 100 as soon as we pass this sign, passing Stafford on the through line. This bit we already know from the Birmingham Crewe DLC, Stafford to Crewe. Allowing 110, except for the little part at the junction that we're running towards, where we have to slow down to 105. And then let's get ready for the last leg to Crewe. As long as the bend is to the right, we can accelerate. As long as it is, or as soon as it goes to the left, it announces the drop to 105. So bend to the left. We let the speed fall to 105. Some tracks are going straight ahead. We're taking the tracks to the right, where the shit is coming from. And soon enough there should be a limit to 105 in this corner. There it comes. It says even 100, but it is limited 105. Let's follow the sign, not the speed curve. Doesn't make much of a difference anyway. Junction tracks coming from behind, junction tracks going to the right. Junction tracks coming again, and then we can go 110 again. 110. And now it's 110 until we get very close to Crewe. We're routed to Crewe platform 11. That means we're getting an approach control signal, most probably. And I have to sneak into position, crawl there with 20. But not with 15 like on Crewe 7. We are still on our way uphill. We're not for long anymore. So, that should be the grade. And we're going downhill the last 10 miles, approximately. So. So, were we on a tilting train, we would have to prepare for slowing down. This barren brown shoulder on the right is typically a sign for that. Now, this people drop from the 125 to 110 soonish. So, here around this area, we should typically get the slow down to 110 as a tilting train, even though there are no signs. And for us, it means be prepared for adverse signals that we're supposed to get soon. So we're running on greens, but this will not last forever. Hence we have to go across the whole bundle of blue lines. We get to Crewe 11. We are bound to get signals like those. Go down to the 80. Distinctly yellow. They're much too early as it seems. Looks like we're not getting any points for punctuality. The red signal there. Probably approach control, but we cannot rely on that, obviously. We have to slow down as if we actually intended to stop at this signal. Here we are. No white diamond, that means a signaler wants us to say hello. And he gives us a signal actually. How nice is that? So, can go a bit faster until I have to go across the switch. And on the switch it is 20 if I'm not very much mistaken. Until we get to Crewe 11.
We are now approaching Crewe. Please mind the gap when leaving the train and step onto the platform before removing heavy luggage and pushchairs.
It's already this switch here, 20 is. Not going to 7 will be straight ahead here with 15. We're also not going into 8, that will be obviously the next one. But this here is 11. And it's maybe on the other side. And 9. They're really early, I cannot make up that much time just by dawdling at the platform. Would drive the passengers crazy. And that's it. Points are meager because we are early.
Service to Liverpool Lime Street. Calling at Liverpool Lime Street only.
Here's 9 and 10, the ones that we missed. 7 and 8, the base on the other side.
For the 12:23 Avanti West Coast service to London Euston. Calling at Milton Keynes Central and...
Oh yeah, my DRA. I thought of it before I thought of something else. No Acura points at this point. And that's it. Full run from London Euston to Crewe on the 807 Evero. At the same time, unboxing the Trent Valley will be released tomorrow together with the 807 Evero train, the train that we were running on today, and the 350/4 version of the Siemens D0 Class 390. And now, in like 20 minutes, enjoy the June roadmap and what we can hear about all the other nice things that are coming to Trains in World. Thank you guys for staying with me. Thank you, Acura, for staying with me all the time. And see you around. Have the greatest of weeks. Bye-bye.